it's been an adventure. 1996, I started feeling really old. I was tired all the time, and I had a sore gut. I went to the doctor, and we talked about it, and internal bleeding and all that. And, oh no, it's probably just an ulcer, so I got ulcer medicine. And we went on from June of 96 through till the spring of 97, and I just said, you know what, this is not an ulcer, this is a bigger problem. So I asked to be sent to a specialist, and after running all kinds of tests on me, he said, hey, it's all in your head, Ron. And he got up and he started walking out of his office, and I raised my voice slightly at him as he was leaving the room, and I said, if it's all in my head, why is my gut so sore? And he stopped and he turned around and he looked at me and said, okay, one more test. And as I'm going through this test with a young technician, things are going around, and the technician, he's standing behind his protection there, and then watching this thing going, and he said, holy shoot, is that ever big? And I said, what? He said, oh, I can't say. So they got a radiologist came over and says, yes, you have a fairly large tumor. And I said, oh, good. I just felt so relieved that there was something. And it's a tumor, okay, tumors can be taken out. So I felt like I was no longer going to be feeling old and so on. So, scheduled surgery after that, and then the guy who was also taught surgery, I've learned since he's supposed to be the best surgeon in Western Canada and all this kind of stuff. And his response was, yes, it's cancer. It was cancer, but I got it all. I don't know what kind. It'll take a while to find out, because we had to send it to Montreal and so on. But I didn't care. I was just so glad to be done. And then it was about 2 months later that they said it is gastrointestinal stromal tumor. It's a very rare kind of cancer, and but don't worry, Ron, we got it all. Through the next while, I started reading more. I'd go down to the medical library at the university and look at the journals and see what I could find out. And I became, my joy was dripping out, because everything was saying, whether you got this, whether they got it all or not, you've got 2 to 4 years to live, Ron. And that's what everybody was saying. And then I talked with the doctors about that, well, no, I don't think so. I can't believe the journals and so on. I said, have you ever treated this before? No, actually I haven't. It went on like that, and I sort of went into a bit of a low-grade depression, and that wasn't helped much by being diagnosed. I was also diagnosed shortly after the surgery with diabetes, and I thought, what a ripoff. Lord, okay, cancer, come. I still love you, Lord. You can do what you want with me, but I want you to know it doesn't seem fair to me to get diabetes as well as cancer. And I ended up going on oral medications, metformin and so on for the diabetes. But the 2 to 4 years passed. There's no sign of cancer and back, and then at 6 years, they stopped even checking up on me. They said, it'll never come back. Remove me from the outpatient follow-up list and so on. And don't worry, Ron, it'll never come back. You're healthy. You're done with cancer. And I knew that wasn't true. I mean, that's just not how this cancer works. I'll believe it, even though I know it's not likely, but I'll believe it. And I went on, and I got back into life fully, and I took a new position in another church as senior pastor. And I just was having a lot of fun. And then a year later, my family doctor said, you should really have follow-up a little longer. I'll order a follow-up CAT scan. So he did. And he sent an order in, but nobody ever called me, so I didn't worry about it. And then half a year later, he asked me, well, what were the results of that CAT scan? I said, actually, I never had it. Nobody called me, and he says, oh, well, that's too bad. And he says, we'll have to reorder that. So he reordered it and put a rush on it and so on. And I went down, I was actually downstairs in his medical building, and I had the CAT scan. And the technicians were people I knew from when I was pastored in that community and so on. And so body language is very important when you get a CAT scan. You know, you can read what's going on. We have to take a few more pictures. No jokes, no smiles, no nothing. And I'm saying, oh, rats. It's back. More pictures. And then the doctor came in, who happened to be a friend of mine from church. And he's looking at the floor and moving his toe around on the tiles and stuff. And I said, I know, Greg, it's back, isn't it? And he says, yes, it's back. And it's fairly large again, and because it's fairly large because he didn't have proper follow-up and so on. But he says there's been developments, and now if we get a good liver surgeon, we'll be able to chop off half your liver, and we'll gain you a few more years. It still will be palliative care, but you'll get a few more years. And I said, okay, Greg. And then I went back to the cancer hospital, and I found I had a new doctor there, a young recent graduate as a medical oncologist. And she looked at all this and she said, well, I'm sorry, but it's back, and there's nothing we can do for you, so you need to put your affairs in order, Ron. And I said, hold it. Why would my radiologist in St. Albert tell me that I could get a few more years with some liver surgery? Well, she said, these radiologists, they think they know everything about everything, and they're not oncologists. And I said, hold it, but why would he say this? And then she caught herself and realized that was very unprofessional for her to say that. At least I'm assuming that, but she said, well, what's the name of your radiologist? And I told her, and Dr. Greg Raymond, and she said, Greg Raymond? I said, yeah, he's a friend of mine from church. And she said, oh, and he said this, that a liver surgery could fix this for a few more years? And I said, yeah, that's what he said. She said, well, I'll have to check that out. And I said, please do. And it turns out that Greg Raymond, he's my friend, Greg Raymond from church kind of thing, but he's a doctor. Turns out he's one of North America's best radiologists or something like this, and she was in awe that I knew him, and that anyhow, she phoned up the liver specialist that Greg had recommended, who's also supposed to be one of the best liver surgeons in Western Canada, and this guy phoned me up the next week. He says, yeah, we got you fitted in for next week, and we'll be able to chop that out of there. He'll gain you a few years, but it's just palliative. So we chopped it up, and no evidence of disease after that. The liver regrows. It's the only organ that regenerates itself, but so they chopped it off and then it regrew. It actually regrew more because I didn't listen very good when it says, don't lift anything heavier than a TV remote, spread out. So I'm a little uneven in that my right side is about 6 inches out on a bad day, farther than my left side. Anyhow, I went for 2 more years, and nothing showed up. I had my 3-month scans and so on. I've had 45 CT scans in my life. 2 years went on, and I was still working and enjoying myself, enjoying life. And then, on a regular follow-up, they said, okay, it's back again. And there's nothing more we can do for it, except try these new pills, called Gleevec, and they might be able to hold it in check. It's sort of like a parachute. You know, you're still going to hit the ground and be killed and die of this stuff, but it'll be a longer trip with these pills. So I was taking those pills. They worked for a year and a half, and things started growing again. And then a new pill had been developed, and I went onto that. But it was funny that when I first started taking the Gleevec pills, I asked the doctor. It had been a different doctor that could give me the pills, and I said, when am I going to die? And he said to me, he says, well, from everything we know and all our studies and so on, you're going to die about 6 years ago. He says, so you're so far out of the box that we can't say anything. You know, just take the pills, and we'll tell you after how long you're going to last. And so I'm now 4 years past that. My energy was gone with the pills and with the cancer and so on. And so I didn't have enough energy to continue working, went on disability. And so I've been able to have as many naps as I want a day and sleep in as long as I want, go to bed early, just have stuff, and ride on a motorcycle and enjoy myself. I'm squeezing my retirement into these few years of supposed disability. But I did come up, through all of this, people have been praying for me and asking God to save my life. And, you know, Ron's not finished work. They keep wanting me to work. God's got more work for you to do. And personally, I don't feel like working anymore. But they keep praying and praying, and I have lasted. I'm on 15 years since I started this epic journey, and from the beginning I was told 2 to 4 years. And I'm part of a couple of internet support groups, and I'm probably the longest, one of 5 or 6 people that have survived this long. It's really quite amazing. And I've often wondered, I've given God the credit, like, God, you've kept me around. I think He's appreciative most days. And, you know, that I'm still here and we're enjoying ourselves. But how has God saved my life all these years? And about 2 months ago, there was a thing on CTV News about how they discovered that a particular diabetes medicine, metformin, is really very effective in controlling cancer. And I went on that about a year after I was first diagnosed with cancer. I've been on metformin. And they say it's just very effective in dealing with cancer. And so I walked around with a smile on my face for about a month just thinking, so that's how God looks after me. He gives me diabetes that I can't get under control without medication. And then about a week or 2 ago, there was another report on CTV News, Medline, that taking aspirin on a regular basis does a lot to control cancer, too. And I have also been taking aspirin for 10 years on a regular basis, not just the little ones, but the big ones, because I've got arthritis too, which is a real mean thing for me to have when I really like riding motorcycles and so on. But if I take the aspirin, I'm okay most of the time. Completed my bucket list. I've gone over, added a few more things, completed that. I have nothing left on my bucket list. And so I'm now kind of expecting that in the next little while that I'll be finished all the approved medications, and then once that happens, then there's about 6 to 9 months after that until I get home to glory.